Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
Hey guys, so I want you to know something as we begin part 15 of 30 in this Blue Collar Leadership Leading from the Front Line series. And if you don't know this, you haven't been listening to me long. But the title of chapter 15 in my Blue Collar Leadership book is Character Counts. Because who you are on the inside is what others see, feel, and experience on the outside. Character counts, and it counts a lot. So that's what we're going to touch on just a little bit today. And again, if you've heard me talk about leadership development, I say that word all the time. I could also be exchanging it for character development. When you hear me talk about leadership development, I'm talking about character development. I'm not talking about how to be a boss. Anybody can be a boss. All someone has to do is hire you and make you the boss of somebody. It's about that easy. Your character, unless they are a person of high character, your character most of the time doesn't even matter. And that's why I'm not talking about how to be a boss. I'm talking about how to be a high impact leader. And you can have a position of leadership or not have a position of leadership. Anybody can be a high impact leader. All they have to do is grow and develop their character. That's why I say character counts. And character is responsible for 87% of your results and your influence, your authentic influence. Again, when you got a position, title, rank, and authority, all that's about artificial influence. All someone's got to do is make you the boss, and it comes with a ton of artificial influence at times. But if people had to follow an artificial leader, they wouldn't. They follow them because they have to, because they don't have any options, because they don't have enough character to grow and develop themselves to have options. So Abraham Lincoln said it like this: character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. Character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. And those are words by Abraham Lincoln. And again, who we are on the inside is what others see, feel, and experience on the outside. That's why character is so important. And a lot of people don't really understand character. They think whenever they hear me say character or somebody else is talking about character, they think this just means this is a good person or a bad person. Can a really good person be late for a meeting? Absolutely. If they're late for a meeting, that means they lied because they said I was going to be here at 10, or they said they were going to be here at 10. They show up at 10 after 10. Then they lied to everybody else in the meeting, right? That ain't what we say, though. We say, oh, I'm sorry for being late. We don't walk in and say, I lied to you guys. I hope you forgive me. And then tell their story. We try to polish it up and say, oh, I'm sorry for being late. That's what we do to people. But when we're late, we lied. I promise you that. Whether you know it and want to realize it or not, that's who we are, and that's just a sign of our character. But Dr. Henry Cloud defines character, and I love his definition. I talk about it the most. He says, character is the ability to meet the demands of reality. So what that means is relative to your personal and professional life, whatever's frustrating you, challenging you, irritating you, stressing you out, all that stuff, whatever that is, there's a lack of character development on your part. That's what it means when Henry Cloud says character is the ability to meet the demands of reality. If we're meeting the demands of reality, say we're achieving what we want to achieve, we have the influence we want to have, we're going to have a happy life. We're not going to be stressed. We're not going to be irritated, mad, sad, frustrated, all that stuff. So all that stuff in our life that's causing us grief, Our lack of character development is the root cause of our grief. So when it comes to your character, it's not about what you know, it's about who you are. Another way of simply thinking about character, because a lot of people wrongly, they're incorrect, but they think character means you're a good person. If you don't have character, it means you're a bad person. That is true, but that's a very, very shallow definition of character. Character is how you do what you do. It's also why you do what you do. It's every single thing that you are. All of your values collected into one pile, that's your character. Good or bad, somewhere in between. And even all that's relative. Because a bunch of criminals with the same values, they don't look at each other and think this other person's terrible. They think that they're like me, I'm like them. We talked about that in the past episode. Who we are is who we attract. That's why character development is so important. And I define high impact character as thinking, feeling, and acting in a congruent way, which just means walking the talk, while making excellent moral and ethical choices based on self-evident natural laws and principles. So when I'm talking about high impact leadership, high impact players, I'm talking about people who have high impact character. And again, that's thinking, feeling, and acting in a congruent way while making excellent moral and ethical choices based on self-evident natural laws and principles. That's the way I see it. And I can tell you something about character. I learned this from John Maxwell a long time ago. I heard him say it one time, and you can validate it. And remember, I said earlier, 87% of our results and our authentic influence comes from character. The other 13% comes from competency. Your knowledge, your skills, your abilities, all of that kind of stuff, what you know. So how do you validate that? Some people say, I don't know if it's 87-13. It could be 80-20, 90-10. Don't worry about the numbers. You can validate it right here. All you need to know is character more important than competency? You got to have both, but is character the most important? And so John Maxwell said this a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me, and it validates this. Can you look in your career and think and understand this, that people are hired for what they know, their competency, but yet they're fired for who they are, their character? Just think about that. You can validate it. You've seen it. I guarantee you've seen it throughout your career. People are hired for what the boss thinks they know, and they may very well know it, or they may not know it. But usually those people are fired, if they are fired, is because of who they are, how they interact with other people. Or it could be because they don't have a competency they said they had. That's a character issue. Or it could be they said that they're interested in growth and developing and learning and growing. And that's why they want this job. And then when they get given the job and the new wears off, they don't want to learn new stuff. They don't want to go for extra training. They're not reading and growing and developing themselves like they said they were to grow within the company and to be a leader. All those character issues, character stuff. So I want to share with you Mahatma Gandhi's secretary, when asked how Gandhi could speak for hours without notes while mesmerizing his audience, said this: what Gandhi thinks, what he feels, what he says, and what he does are all the same. He does not need notes. You and I, we think one thing, feel another, say a third, and do a fourth. So we need notes and files to keep track. That was what Mahatma Gandhi's personal secretary had to say about Gandhi. And basically all they're saying is he walks the talk. He's the same person all the time. And I used to not be that way. I was 2-faced, 3-faced, 4-faced, 5-faced, 10-faced, however many faces. We all say we don't like 2-faced people. But most of us, if we go look in the mirror with integrity, we're a lot more than 2-faced. We are multi-faced people. Today, I'm happy to say I'm the same person all the time. But there was a time in my life where some people knew I drank alcohol. Other people didn't even know. Some people knew how I acted on the weekend. Some people didn't have a clue. Some people knew I used profanity all the time, or thought I did. But then there was other people who didn't think I even used profanity. I was all different kind of ways with all different kind of people at the same time. That's what we call multi-faced. It's way worse than being two-faced. But I've worked and grown and developed my character. I'm the same person. No matter who you are, I'm always the same. And that's so refreshing for me to live my life like that. All I got to be is me. Used to, I had to pay attention to who I was being around, how I was being when I was around certain people, what I was saying, what I was laughing at, what I wasn't doing, what jokes I would say, or all kind of goofy stuff, things I would talk about. So I want to leave you with a thought that I learned this from Andy Stanley. Andy Stanley says, character is personal, but it's not private. Character is personal, but it's not private. Because it shows up on the outside. Building it happens on the inside. Developing your character happens on the inside. It's an inside job. But it's not private because everybody's watching. Your life reveals who you are on the inside. Simon Sinek had this to say: our reputations do not come from how we talk about ourselves. Our reputations come from how others talk about us. So we have to align ourselves with natural laws and principles. And then society takes care of the rest. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Hope you have a great day. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.